everyone feel safe, learn more, close. Hey guys, so I wanted to. It's been a while, good minute since I've been on, made a post, but I wanted to read John chapter 15 briefly. I don't know if I could do this here. Let's see. Basically talking about I am the true vine and the Father is the husbandman, or I guess you can say a gardener. Every branch in me that bears not fruit is taken away, and every branch that bears fruit, he purges or prunes it that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abides in the vine, no more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abides in me, and I in him, the same bring forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. Anyways, I'm just talking about this here, and it talks about how the vine is, you know, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. So like Jesus and the Father, and then it talks about the branches, right? And how like if you want the branches to produce, you have to like prune. So and it keeps going down, and it talks about how if it doesn't get pruned, it doesn't produce. It gets thrown away. And then it also talks about how if you follow or love God's word, then you're in his love, and vice versa, and he loves you. And then verse 14 talks about the love that he gave. He gave his life down for his friends. Verse 14 says, ye are my friends if you do whatever I command you. So it's just interesting here. So how the relationship. So the reason I'm bringing this out is because I had a dream about a grapevine, and it was weird because this grapevine had like a little clear tube with honey coming from this grapevine. You would think grapes would produce grapes, right? But in my dream, it was producing honey, and it was coming down this clear tube and going all the way down into honey jars. And there were like 4 honey jars that were already filled to the top with the lids on, and it was just still you can see it flowing. That was my dream, and I was just thinking about that today. The dream was on June 6th, but I was just like, what does a grapevine represent in the Bible? So it brought me to John chapter 15. So I was just thinking about how it's been a good minute since I've been making posts, and I realized that our ministry has to be constant and active. And I felt like I've been doing pretty good, like in my private life, with my family, staying steady. I got a little Bible study group that we kind of like uh, weekly. We struggle like everyone else, and it's kind of hard to admit or hard to say that all of us are struggling, and we all go through ups and downs, and you can kind of say that the battle is real because there's always something, like there's always someone throwing in the wrench, you know making it difficult for us. There's always witchcraft. They're always having to put out fires, and it's kind of normal. But like in my line of work, I really am used to it. But the weird part is that I'm not so much used to it when it comes from close friends and family. When you see like um, a toxic person or toxic energy may infiltrate your spirit, and it makes you like not want to produce fruit, like this in this scripture is talking about you have to produce. But the wicked, they want they I guess you could say the invisible wicked spirits, right, are actively putting negative thoughts in our heads so that we don't perform, we don't produce, you know and then so then you don't post, then you don't encourage. And a lot of times we're trying to encourage people, but at the same time it can become a negative encourage because it's so like you think so like so hard, it's so hard to be holy, or it's so hard to get to that level because of what's going on, right? But in reality it's just like It's part of the game where we're just all together in the same situation, but we're not literally alone. We see it seems like we're alone because we tend to fight our battles by ourselves. And then if you complain, or if you say for instance you want to help somebody, you end up getting hurt because they don't want to hear it. Um, anyways, so the I gotta admit though, it's been a pretty exciting last couple months. I've had a lot of dreams. I don't post a lot of them just because I really like, for the same reason. I'm like, man, who cares about, I know this dream is of God, but I'm like, what would it benefit me to tell somebody about it? And I was just like, I don't want people to feel like I'm I'm like any different, but I have all the same struggles as everyone else. But it's just interesting that because I am seeking the Lord a little bit harder, I am getting I am getting a lot of little nuggets throughout the past couple of months. So I'll give you a couple of instances. There was um there was a sister who posted that she wanted to do 15-day fast, right? So I knew I couldn't do 15 days. I mean, I had to work, I had to do things. I needed energy for a particular job, and I was looking at my calendar. I'm like, you know what? I can't do 15 days. But I never tried it before, so I just said I can't do it. But I started it and I did 14 days. I couldn't do that last day because that last day I knew I had a big job and I needed power, and I just gave in. I'm like, I need power. I don't want to risk it. And sure enough, I did need that extra boost to do that last job I was supposed to finish. So, but during that 14-day fast that I did, I had I was able to um, well, first of all, I mean my health got way better. Second of all, the study group that I was doing, it also encouraged other people to start fasting. Not only that, my personal sister, she did it because she saw the results, like not even biblical results, just health results. I did it for God. And then in my study group, there was another sister. Uh, she did 3 days, you know, and then my father did like just recently. I think he came off today. Um, 6 days. He did 6 days fasting, and it's just a cool experience to see people taking it to the next level because we never ever did fasting. Also, too, within the past couple of months, I've also learned from another guy, another brother, which you probably heard of him. His name is James Koala. He had his one of his videos went viral because it said on the day he was born he was married to a witch, and his story just basically like blew my mind. I didn't know that there was people like this, and he is an intercessor. I didn't even know what an intercessor was or how they acted or what their job was. Long story short, man, this guy is on a different level. I've never had somebody. I guess I've been looking and I've been asking for I guess you could say mentorship in a way that's going to take me to the next level, where it's actual food, it's actual stuff that speaks to my soul. For example, I've read the Bible multiple times before, and I just kind of like, okay, you get it. You hear other people's interpretations, you hear teachings, and you understand it. But I never understood the intercession part. I never understood how the soul and the spirit worked and how they were connected with the body, and the understanding of prayer, like the power of prayer, like literally the power of prayer, the coveted prayers, the getting together in a group, and how everything is connected, and there's glory to glory. There's levels to this. I knew there was levels, but I just never really comprehended it because no one really explained it. And one of the things about this person is that He's from like Africa, right? And there, whenever he speaks, a lot of his videos are interpreted. Like he speaks in English, but there's also the interpreter speaking, and I don't know what other language it is, but it's kind of hard to listen to. It can be very annoying because you have to wait, and if you're listening to somebody else speak and then wait and then listen, it's annoying. But if you can get past that, the teaching is phenomenal because it just takes you to a different. Um, it takes the spirit, like the word that you hear in this, in the word, and he translated to the spirit, and how you're supposed to understand it, because I read it multiple times, right? You or anybody, you read the Bible, but you really just it's not popping at you. So that's what's taken me. That's where I've been in the past couple months. It's been pretty quiet. It's been pretty slow, but I've been able to just listen and just keep understanding more in the spirit. So if you haven't had a chance to hear him, I mean, give him a shot. Listen to that 3 hour one, and it's just kind of like, for me, I haven't really been able to couldn't I can't really say anything negative about him. Anyways, now that's kind of where I've been. A little side note: after I had the 14 days of fasting, I did have a pretty cool dream where 2 days after the fast, I stopped like on a Thursday or at Thursday night. I didn't have a dream that night. Saturday morning, I had a cool dream where I was actually in kind of like space in the galaxies, and I was like looking at the galaxies. And if you ever seen like Star Wars or Star Trek, where they had the dimensions or warp speed, I was in heaven, and there was warp speeds going past me, like dimensions one, two, three, like like 4 or 5 dimensions, just going beyond and super fast. And I was in awe, and I was in a dream. I don't think it was a dream. It was more of a vision because I was awake, but I didn't want to like move because I wanted to stay in it. So I kind of figured it was over, right? And then I came out of the dream or vision, and I realized I was still dreaming. And there was like a glass wall, and I was in a lounge. And in this lounge, it was kind of like a luxury lounge where you're waiting like at an airport, where it had like a bar and it had like restaurant tables. And I'm looking through this glass wall now, where I was initially looking at the universe, and I saw a TV with the cartoons. It was like a cartoons of like prehistoric dinosaurs, and they were all dressed in purple. And that was like my dream, and it was just cool. That was the only thing I remember about. I still remember it, but it was just cool. That was after I had fasted for 14 days. So I was kind of expecting something, because you do something that drastic, and and I always thought it was going to happen on that Friday, but it didn't. I wasn't disappointed, but it happened on the Saturday morning. So I was kind of excited for that. I had another cool dream where that same there was a person. I didn't know this guy. He was a white guy, and we were in a lake. And I was young, and this guy was young. But he had a full beard, and we're in the lake. And then it's like I knew him, and then I was like happy to see him. And then he says, are you gonna do this? Are you gonna baptize me? And then he said, yeah, I'm gonna baptize you. And then he baptized me, and then I came out of the water, and we were just like so excited. But I was baptized back in some other occasion, in a like when I was way younger. But I was like also too really excited about that, and that was cool. That was a cool dream. Then I had I don't know. There's more dreams that I've been having. I'll probably share those on my next one. I just can't really. Um, it was a dream. I guess I remember this one where I didn't know what consecration meant. All right, so in James Kawala, his teaching here is basically about consecrating yourself. And I didn't know. I started listening to it, but it seemed like I couldn't get to the point of like, what is this consecration? It's in the scriptures. I read it. I saw it a few times, and he brought it out. I'm like, what is consecration? So uh, that night, I had a dream where this James guy, I guess he interceded for me, and he answered my my question. Where I was on a rooftop again, and then he appeared like this James, and he like hugged me, and he said like in my ear, purity. It means purity. And then we kind of like fell on the ground, right? And then I was like busting out in tears of happiness and joy. And for some reason there was somebody on the bottom like looking, but I was on the rooftop with this James guy. And that was like my first experience with actual intercession. I didn't understand it until like maybe a month after. Like, that was an intercession. He interceded for me. And so just recently, so I've been getting into more depth as to what consecration means. And according to what I know now, my definition is it's like a state of being holy in your walk always. So like you're always going to be consecrating yourself. Like, say for example, Moses, when he went up to the mountain for 40 days, or when he's talking to the burning bush, he had to take off his shoes, and he was standing on holy ground, right? And then um, he just had to be holy. He had to be in a state of readiness for the Lord. So say for example, you're not you're watching, let's just say, demonic movies, or listening to music that's, let's just say, Taylor Swift or Beyonce. You know that that music has a like, it's not of God. So you're listening to it. So you have that defiled ear. You wouldn't be consecrated anymore. Or let's just say you go to a party and you want to drink a couple of beers, and you're no longer consecrated. You're no longer in a situation where you can be holy or purified before God. So consecration to me means that you're always looking to be on God's on call for whatever God needs. It's a state. It's a way of living, and that's kind of what I've gained from this, where I was actually um, ready. You're ready at any time to do a job for the Lord. If he calls you, you're not going to be sinning. You're not going to be using foul language. You're going to just be ready slash holy. And also requires that you're praying constantly and reading the Word constantly. So you're actually holy. It's possible, but it's just a matter of being consecrated. So that's just one of my um, uh, lessons. Again, now I remember the other dream. This was a cool dream. It had to do with the V, the jab. So this dream, I was at a school, right? And for some reason, everyone at this school was, they were just not happy. It was kind of dark. And so I'm being chased. So I start running, and I'm running into this field. And the scene changes, and I'm barefoot, and I'm still running up this. It's snowing now, and I'm still running, and I'm escaping, and I'm just running. I don't know if from what I'm being chased, and I find these apartment townhomes, huge townhomes. They were 3 stories high. So I climb up this snow, and I get to the top of these townhomes, and I'm looking for a way to jump down safely because there's so much snow. I can do it. So I'm running across this roof line, and I find this smaller roof line. So as I'm running, there's tunnels, and there's like, it's kind of like portals or stuff like that, where I'm going through these tunnels, and I finally get to this little portal door, and there's a guy with this. It's a wooden door. It's like a portal, and I'm trying to be quiet, but I see this little boy next to me. I don't know who he is, and he's he's my friend, I guess. He's quiet too, and then I'm trying to be quiet, but then I see somebody point a gun from the portal down, and so I knocked on the door. I'm like, "Don't shoot! I'm down here." So he lets me in, and then I go into this house where there's a bunch of teenagers, and they're all like kind of just lying or lounging around, and and one the main teenager, he's like worried, he's perplexed about me because he didn't know me, and I'm looking at my phone, and I'm telling, listen, this is where I live, and he didn't care, and I'm sitting there, and this is a huge townhome. It's weird because I dropped lower, but this was a huge house, nice luxury house, and he said, you know what, I don't care. He goes, did you take it? And I'm like, did I take it? And he's like, did you take the jab? And I'm like, no, I don't believe in it. And then I asked him, why did you take it? And then he said something like, I would be caught dead if you couldn't give that to me. You'd have to kill me in order to give me that. And then once he figured out that we're on the same page, like mentally, he was relaxed. He wasn't perplexed or worried anymore. So that was a warning dream again about in the future. I guess for schools, they're going to actually want you to take that. And these kids weren't in school. They were teenagers. And maybe they were at home because they didn't get it and they weren't able to go to school. And that took me a while to understand too. But that was that was a dream that I needed to get out a long time ago. Um, I had another dream too during the same time where all the lights went out in the whole entire neighborhood, and I had a house in the subdivision, and we were having a party, and I walked outside, I guess, to take out the garbage, and there was this little boy with me again. It's weird. There's always this little boy with me, and then he said, I told this little kid, I said, go tell your mom that I told you so, like that. We will have light. And so he went inside and he told, and but we all had light. So I don't know if that had to do with anything with the power grid going out or how God will provide for people, his people. So anyways, there's a lot of stuff here that I wanted to just get off my chest and just say, just say thank you for listening. I don't ever want to be in other words, I'm grateful for my dreams, and I don't want people to think that I'm any different from you. I do try, though. I actually do try to have encounters with the Lord, and it is hard because there are feelings. Like, I am human, so I do feel the strain, especially when your family members or friends or people who you would think would entertain your conversations or try to like have a dialogue with you don't, and they don't care, and they get offended, and they get like all, they just get like all worked up. And but anyways, I just kind of let things go. I don't care to the extent like I lose what's the word, um I just let things go. All right, just let it go, and then I just move on. So hopefully, this will help you to also understand, just like it's more important to please God right now, to keep our cool, to keep our love, our joy, while we're in this time, because it is possible. It is possible to to stay happy and stay content. And all right, guys, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share all this. I just threw all that stuff at you, but if you get a chance, listen to James Koala. I think it's Lifeway Church, and pretty good stuff. All right, let me know what you guys think, and talk to you later. Let's see if I can cancel this. days. It's not working, guys.